So, good morning, students. In the previous lecture, we have discussed about two-dimensional analysis of a dam cross-section. So, in the problem statement, they have provided a section of a gravity dam that to overflow portion has been shown, which is built up of concrete. So, it is expected to calculate the maximum vertical stress at the heel and at the toe by neglecting the earthquake effects and to calculate the major principal stress at the toe of dam. The intensity of shear stress on a horizontal plane near the toe, this also to be calculated. So remaining other details were mentioned in the problem. So this was the dam cross section that they have given, right? So all the RLs have been mentioned in the problem. So with that, we have started with the analysis of this dam so as to calculate the stresses which are required to be calculated. So first force that we have calculated is the self-weight of dam, in which we have divided the geometry of dam in two portions. One is this rectangular portion and the another one is the triangular portion, right? So similarly, at the same time you can refer to the table of calculations that we have performed already. You can take the reference of that, right? So in the first part we have calculated the vertical downward weight of the dam W1 and W2, whereas W1 is the rectangular segment and W2 is the triangular segment, right? So cross section multiplied by 1, that will give us the volume of the dam, multiplied by unit weight, that will get converted to the weight or say downward weight of the dam. Then where this force will get, that will be acting is through its CG. Therefore, we require to take the moments about toe. So we have calculated the lever arm distances for W1 and W2. Then we have calculated one more weight which is acting vertically downward, that is the water which is stored in this triangular wedge portion on the downstream side or on the tail side, which is of height say h dash 6 meter, and with the slope of downstream face we have calculated the horizontal width for this segment. So all the vertical downward forces are over till this part. Then vertically upward forces which are acting against the stability of dam in the upward direction that we have calculated. So I will slightly move this page to upward side so that uplift of pressure distribution diagram that will be visible to you. Fine. So in this we have plotted the uplift pressure distribution diagram. So as per the USBR guidelines, we have drawn the figure. So as per those recommendation, it is given that uplift pressure distribution, pressure intensity at the heel and at the toe respectively will be the values of hydrostatic pressure intensity. So therefore at the heel, the pressure intensity will be gamma W into H, whereas on the tail side, that is on the downstream side, it will be gamma W into H dash. If suppose this drainage gallery is not provided, in that case we will directly draw a straight line joining these 2 points, gamma W into H and gamma W into H dash. Now here there is a drainage gallery provided, so at the center line of drainage gallery there is a relief of uplift pressure. So that ordinate, that reduced ordinate we have to plot, consider that in this case. So the ordinate is given as gamma W into H dash plus 1/3 of difference between these two ordinates, that is gamma W into H minus gamma W into H dash. Accordingly, we have divided this entire complex geometry into say convenient rectangles and triangles, so that it will be easier to work out the area and respectively take the moments of all these forces about 2. Therefore, U1, U2, U3, U4 were the 4 say segments that we have divided. Then accordingly we took the movements. Then coming to the horizontal forces part, in that we have hydrostatic pressure distribution diagram on the upstream side, as well as there is a tailwater on the downstream side, which will be having the horizontal thrust on the dam portion. So on the upstream side, the horizontal hydrostatic force is capital P, whereas the horizontal hydrostatic force on the downstream side or on the tailwater, it is indicated as P dash, right? So all these forces were calculated along with their movements, right? So you can now just tell me about the horizontal forces sum, right? So summation H that you have already worked out, which will be as a summation of P and P dash, wherein you have to give due consideration to the signs as well. Okay. Fine. Now tell me the values of summation. Okay, just wait, I will check it. So summation H is with the negative sign. Few of you were, yes, you are replying, minus 31215.42 kilonewton. So this is because this P is greater than P dash, therefore it is with the negative sign. Similarly, tell me about summation M3, that is moments due to horizontal forces. Summation M3. So minus 837120 plus 353.16. Okay. I'm getting the values as minus. Why there is a discrepancy in the values of moments? Yes. 8367383. Just check the values. Minus 837120 plus 353.16. So it may be because of the value of 80/3 that you have taken it in a fraction or as the decimal point, that will have a slight change in the overall movement that you will get, right? So preferably take this 80/3 as 80/3 itself. Geeta, why you are getting 83671? Okay. So minus 836766.84. Okay. Now all calculation of all the forces by considering to this condition, what they have mentioned in the problem, are the calculation part is now over, right? Now we will proceed further for the calculation of stresses, that is actual steps for analysis, right? So now you have summation V, that is summation V1 plus V2. Accordingly, you have the moment summation M1 with respect to summation V1. say M2 you have with respect to V2, M3 you have that is with respect to the horizontal forces, right? So take down next step now. Okay, so first step, net moment. Summation M, which is net moment. So all the moments that summation we have to take, which is summation M1 plus summation M2 plus summation M3. So values of moments are with you. So summation M1 is with positive sign 2096638.96. Just check these values whether these are matching to your answers or not. Then M2 is minus 482041.56. Again M3 is negative, therefore it is minus 836766.84. Now what is net moment summation M? Okay, summation M. Yes, 777. Others, please do check. Okay, same answer you are getting. So 830.56 unit will be kilonewton meter. So it is with positive sign, right? So therefore this movement is in anti-clockwise direction. Okay, fine. Now summation V value, already we have calculated that summation V1 plus summation V2, that value is available with us. So this is plus 43048.86 kilonewton. Right? So you can refer previous pages or tables, in that we have the values mentioned. Fine. So second step, now we will calculate the distance of resultant from toe. So we will check whether there is any eccentricity in the resultant of force from the center line of section at the base or not. If all the forces or eccentricity is 0, it is directly indicating that all the forces are, say, as a resultant of that, the resultant force will act at its CG itself. Or otherwise, if suppose the resultant is acting somewhere other than the center line of the base, in that case it will have some eccentricity in its line of action. Therefore, it will induce direct plus bending stresses, right? If resultant is directly passing through the center, through the mid at the base, it will only induce direct stress. So the distance of resultant from the toe, that is x bar, say x bar will be equal to summation m by summation v. So moment divided by vertical force, which will be in kilonewton meter, divided by kilonewton, you will get the distance in meter. So put these values. 77830.56 divided by 43048.86. Yes, 18.06 meter. Faizan, correct. Romana, all of you are okay. Lakshmi, Shweta, you are correct. Now, next step. Now, whether there is a eccentricity or not in the line of action of result, and that we will check. So, eccentricity of force, eccentricity E will be equal to B by 2 minus X bar. So, this B by 2 will be half of the, say, total width. So it is not to the scale. I have just drawn it roughly. Yes, Pranav Kamble, you are absolutely correct. It is, say, total B is 56 by 2 minus 18.06, which will give us the value 9.85. Okay, very good. 9.94 someone is getting, Vinayak Chavan. It is 56 by 2 minus 18.06. 9.94. Yes. Others do check. 9.94 meter. Okay. Same answer. 9.94. Fine. Now we have the eccentricity at which the resultant force is acting. So it is not acting exactly at the mid of the base of dam. So it is acting at a distance at an eccentricity of 9.94 meter. So therefore it will have direct and bending stresses that will get developed at the base of section. So next line. Vertical stresses. So vertical stress will be indicated by, say, small p suffix v. So it is vertical stress. So direct and bending stress formula, we know that. So direct stress plus bending stress, I will directly write the formula. Summation V by V 1 plus or minus 6E by V. So if you apply the formula of direct stress plus bending stress. So direct stress will be direct force by area. So direct stress which will be acting at the center, it will be summation V or vertical force divided by exposed area will be, say, the base which is exposed or which is taking that force. So B into 1 the plan area, or lengthwise it is 1 meter that we have considered, plus in the bending stress you know that what is bending stress, it is M by Z or M by I into Y. So summation V by B plus, again this M is nothing but the, say, force into lever arm is force into eccentricity, that is P into E. Here this P is nothing but the total vertical downward force which is acting, it is summation V into E divided by I. For this section is generally, say, taken as B by, say, I is for a rectangular section, what is supposed to be written? BD cube by 12 or B into L cube by 12. So B into 1 cube will be 1 divided by 6 divided by 12 into, say, Y or the distance of CG from the from the corner or say from the base, we will generally take it as length by 2 or it is 1 by 2. Therefore, if you take summation V by B as common, so in this it will be so y will be the distance as b by 2. So therefore 1 plus or minus 6e by b. This is the formula by applying the concept of direct and bending stress. So this direct formula we are going to apply for calculating the vertical stress at the heel and at toe. So this positive sign will give us the maximum vertical stress, and minus sign, if you use it in this formula, it will give us the minimum vertical stress that will get developed. Now you have to tell me or where the maximum stress will get developed and where the minimum stresses will get observed. You have to keep it in mind. In this case is, say, reservoir full case, there is a water stored on the upstream side up to, say, reservoir full level. So up to a height of 80 meters, the water is stored. Now what is the nature of stresses that will get developed at the base? What is the nature of stress at heel and at toe? Where we would expect the maximum stresses are developed? At heel or at toe, where the stresses will get developed? Maximum stress. So it is a reservoir full case. Fine. So when water is there on the upstream side, or there is a water stored on the upstream side, say if you resolve the forces that you have calculated, say vertical force and horizontal force. Because of this horizontal force, say maximum horizontal force will be towards the dam, say summation H will be like this and summation V will be like this. So preferably resultant will be acting towards the toe. Therefore, maximum stresses will get developed at the toe and minimum stresses that will get developed at the heel. Right? So this is maximum compressive stress that will get developed, and at the heel it will be minimum stress. If reverse is the case, that no water is there in the storage, in that case the forces will be in reverse direction. Horizontal force is more because of the earthquake or other components, and vertical stress will be obviously acting in vertically downward direction. In this case, the resultant will act towards the heel, right? So you have to look at the location where the resultant is passing through. Whether it is passing through the middle third portion, in that case the chances of tensile stresses or minimum stresses is least in that case. If it is passing beyond that, beyond the middle third, or if it is passing towards the toe, in that case maximum stresses will get developed at the toe. If resultant is passing through the, say, near the heel, in that case the maximum stresses are more at the heel side, right? So here now put the values. Say PV is equal to summation V is 43048.86 divided by base width is 56 meters. 1 plus or minus 6 into eccentricity is 18 point, what is the answer? 18.06 divided by, again B is 56. So PV will be, work out this, component, say that part 43048.86 divided by 56, and this 1 plus or minus another part. So therefore,
ma'am, eccentricity 18.59, 9.85.
okay, correct. Eccentricity is 9.94. Yes, correct. So eccentricity is 9.94. Therefore, you have to calculate the stresses now. So this plus sign, that is maximum stress, maximum vertical stress, PV max, maximum vertical stress, it will get developed at toe. I hope now you got the reason why the maximum stress in this case will get developed at the toe. Simply the reason is the resultant is passing near the toe, therefore there the maximum stresses will get developed. So what is the value? PV max 2 point, no. Calculate this entire term by taking this sign, say this 1 plus or minus. Plus sign you have to take it for the calculation of maximum vertical stress. Negative sign you have to take while you are calculating the minimum vertical stresses. So maximum vertical stress I got, say, okay, 1587.4 406 or 68, someone getting 79. Okay. Why this much difference? 1579 and 1587. Check this calculation once again. So put the values correctly. Summation V is 43048.86. Value of E is 9.94. B is 56. Okay, 1587.4. So as this is the stress, it will have unit as kilonewton per meter square. On the similar lines, calculate PV minimum, that is minimum vertical stress. So now this will get developed at the heel. So the answer, okay, Shweta, correct, it is minus 49.96. Okay, correct. So mention the unit also in kilonewton per meter square. So maximum and minimum vertical stress that will get developed at the base. So maximum vertical stress will get developed at the toe. Minimum vertical stress that will get developed at the heel. If you look at in this picture. Okay. So maximum stress will get developed at the toe and minimum will be at heel. Because this is the reservoir full case, horizontal forces are acting towards right hand side or say towards heel. Therefore, maximum stresses will be observed at toe and minimum stresses are observed at heel. Now we will move on further for second question, that is the major principal stress at the toe of dam. Okay. So now fifth one, say major principal stress at toe. So this will be principal stresses are generally indicated by symbol sigma. Just wait. Okay. So formula for calculation of major principal stress is sigma is equal to PV at toe into sec square alpha minus P dash into tan square alpha. Now in this PV is nothing but vertical stress developed at toe. P dash is nothing but say the hydrostatic pressure at tail. So this formula has been derived by considering the major principal plane as the downstream toe portion. So I will draw a small exaggerated figure for the downstream toe portion itself. So at the top you can observe this. So here for the calculation of major principal stress, this plane is considered as the principal plane in which shear stresses are generally zero. So by considering this, by taking all the forces acting on these faces, if you can resolve the forces in horizontal and vertical direction for this triangular portion, this part, with the help of this, the formula has been derived. If you are interested in studying or at least knowing how this formula has been derived, I will provide you the handwritten notes for the derivation. You can go through that. It is simpler to understand as you have studied, say, forces and resolution of forces in first or second year of your curriculum. Right? So we are not going much of the details of that part. You can directly remember that formula. Right? So for your understanding, I will provide you the derivation of that part, but that too in a handwritten form. I am not going to explain regarding this. Right? So here PV at toe, that is vertical stress at toe, is known to us. That value is 1587.4 kilonewton per meter square. Then P dash is nothing but the horizontal water pressure at tail or on the downstream side. If you can refer the previous pages and the dam cross section in which we have drawn all the forces, there you have written this value as 58.86 kilonewton per meter square. At this also the pressure intensity, small p dash is pressure intensity at the base of this toe. So here you have written this gamma w into h dash, so that value is nothing but the 58.86. Then now tan alpha. Now alpha is nothing but, see, this angle is alpha. So it is the angle made with verticals, or say the downstream face that makes the angle with the vertical. So tan alpha, if you can observe over here, so this horizontal distance is 48. Say, sorry, but total horizontal over here is 50 meters, whereas the vertical distance from RL 205 to 220, 280, 75 meter is the height of this triangle. Base of this triangle, say from this part, the dotted line is indicating the horizontal length of this one is 50 meter. So therefore, this slope is 2 horizontal is to 3 vertical, or 50 horizontal is to 75 vertical. So this will be same as 2 parts horizontal to 3 parts vertical. Now tan alpha is to be known. Therefore, what is meant by tan alpha? It is opposite upon adjacent. So here we can write tan alpha is opposite is 50 divided by adjacent is 75. So indirectly it will be 2 by 3. Fine. Now sec square alpha. So once we have the value of tan alpha, you can easily calculate the value of sec square alpha. Now how to calculate sec square alpha? So if you remember trigonometrical formula, sec square alpha is 1 plus tan square alpha. So 1 plus tan alpha value is 2 by 3. So tan square alpha is 2 by 3 square. So work out sec square alpha value 1 plus 2 by 3 square. So 2 by 3 square plus 1. 1.444. Okay. Now put all these values in the above formula. You will get the major principal stress at toe. So sigma is equal to PV at toe 1587.4 into sec square alpha is 1.444 minus 58.86 into, so tan square alpha is 2 by 3 square. Now write down the value of sigma. So as this is the stress, so it will have unit as kilonewton per meter square. Okay, 2266.04. Any other answer than this? Any other value? Double 2266.07 or 0.04. Okay, no issue in that. So this value is less than 2500 kilonewton per meter square, which is generally the allowable compressive stress of concrete. So therefore it is okay being this value is less than the allowable compressive strength of concrete. Right? Now the last one, say, now the calculation of intensity of shear stress on a horizontal plane near the toe. So last question, intensity of shear stress on a horizontal plane near toe. So this is given by formula, say tau 0 is equal to PV at toe minus P dash into tan alpha. So PV at toe or vertical stress developed at toe minus P dash, that is hydrostatic pressure intensity at tail into tan alpha. So PV at toe is 158687.4 minus 58.86 into value of tan alpha is 2/3. So this value is 1019.026 kilonewton per meter square. So what can be the alteration to this problem that can be made is, here they have given you the tailwater is there on the downstream side. Therefore, in this formulas, you have the component of P dash, or say hydrostatic pressure or pressure intensity on the tail side or on the downstream side. If no tailwater is there, then this factor would not be considered in the calculation of major principal stress, as well as in the intensity of shear stress on a horizontal plane near the toe. If no tailwater is there, in that case this value of P dash would be taken as 0. Right? So discarding that part, you can simply write the formula in the case of no tailwater. Right? So that can be small alteration possible to make in this problem. If in case water is there, so these are the standard formulas given. If no tailwater is there, directly P dash would become 0. Fine? So now, so as to summarize the entire procedure of this problem is, so with the given details of dam cross section and all the other values of say allowable stress in the concrete, which you have to check it against the value of allowable say major principal stress which will get developed at the toe, or maximum stresses which will get developed in the section. So with the dam cross section given, you should be able to draw all the diagrams of pressure distribution, hydrostatic pressure distribution, uplift pressure distribution, and various other forces. So for the weight of dam, self weight of dam, you have divided it into convenient segments or convenient parts. Then hydrostatic pressure distribution diagrams we have drawn. Uplift pressure distribution, that has to be drawn by following the guidelines of USBR recommendation, right? So as per the recommendations, the values are to be taken, plotted appropriately, and you have to consider for the drainage galleries provided, right? So then one by one we have calculated all the forces in a tabular form by mentioning the sign conventions that you are following correctly. So the stability of dam will dependent on the self weight. So all the forces which are acting vertically downward are positive. This will be stability. Against the stability, the disturbing forces will act in vertically upward direction. Towards the dam or towards right hand side, horizontal forces are to be taken as negative. Towards reservoir or towards left, the forces are to be taken as positive. Clockwise movements, negative, whereas anti-clockwise movements are considered to be positive movements, right? So vertical stresses, we have vertical forces. First we have calculated, say downward weight of dam divided in two parts. Respective movements we have calculated. Then vertical weight of water supported on downstream face or sloping side on the downstream side, that also we have calculated. Additionally, there will be say uplift pressure because of the water which is stored on upstream as well as on the downstream side. So with the figure that we have drawn for uplift pressure distribution diagram, so we have uplift pressure distribution diagram and we have divided it in four parts, U1, U2, U3 and U4. Respective moments we have written. So summation V1 as already calculated, summation V2 we have calculated. Respective moments we have M1, M2. So total sum of vertical force is with us. Now the last part is for the calculation of horizontal forces. So the horizontal force on the upstream side will be only because of the hydrostatic pressure of water. So water which is standing say up to a height of 80 meter as per the given dimensions of the dam, gamma W into H will be the pressure intensity at the base. If you take the pressure distribution diagram, area of that will directly give us the force of water, or say water, uh, which will be exerting a thrust, horizontal thrust on the dam. So P is area of triangle half base into height. Base is gamma W into H. Height is total height on upstream side up to which water is stored. That height is 80 meters. So movement is to be taken about toe. So triangular distribution will act at h by 3 from base. Similarly, for downstream side, so capital letters will indicate forces, whereas small letters will indicate the pressure intensity. So capital P dash will be the hydrostatic force on downstream side. Similar to the earlier one, here also the area of triangular hydrostatic pressure distribution that we have plotted. So half base into height, and in the third dimension we have length as 1 meter. So summation H is known, summation M3 is known. Sum of M1, M2, M3 will be the net movement. Fine. So net movement we have calculated. Then summation V value we have distance of the resultant from toe. So from the toe, where does the resultant is acting or passing through, that we have calculated. So it is at a distance 18.06 meter. So it is at an eccentricity of 9.94 meter from the center of the base, right? So total base is 56 meter on each of the side. So 56 by 2 on one side and 56 by 2 on other side. So this will be passing from toe. The distance is 18.06. Therefore, the eccentricity will be total B by 2 minus this x bar. Eccentricity we have calculated. Then vertical stresses, maximum and minimum vertical stresses, we have written a combined formula for direct and bending stress for the combined stress that will get developed. So summation V by B into bracket 1 plus or minus 6E by B. Plus sign will be for the maximum vertical stress and minus sign will be for the minimum vertical stress. So because of the reservoir full condition, the horizontal stress, or say the resultant, will pass near the toe, therefore maximum stresses will get developed at the toe. The remaining one, that is minimum vertical stress, will get developed at the keel. Then major principal stress will be at toe. Formula is PV, or vertical stress at toe, into sec square alpha minus P dash into tan square alpha. Whereas the last one, intensity of shear stress on a horizontal plane near the toe, is given by PV at toe minus P dash into tan alpha. Right? So few of the formulas are from the derivations that we have written. So here sigma value that we have checked it against the allowable stress in concrete, what they have mentioned in the problem statement. Fine. So this was the part related to, say, analysis of gravity dam section provided. Okay. So additionally, in the Google Classroom, I will provide you, say, a detailed problem which has been solved by considering analysis of a gravity dam for all the complexities that has to be considered. So all the forces are to be considered in that case. This problem, what we have discussed in these few of the classes, is a small problem or a very nominal case in which only 3 to 4 forces are there. Water pressure is there, then uplift and the sulfate. That's it, right? So one more or detailed problem. It is earlier in the case of, say, Solapur University, for term work that was compulsory to solve it in the journal. Say, entire all the complexities that you have to consider. In this, the dam section that they have provided is with the vertical upstream phase. In the other problem that I am going to provide it is a partial slant provided on the upstream side. In that you have to consider all the forces for the analysis: water pressure, uplift, wave, earthquake pressure, silt pressure, and say if ice pressure is not predominant, that you can discard it, and the last one is sulfate. About 6 forces that you have to consider with a combination of 2 extremities possible, that is, one reservoir full case wherein all the forces that have to be considered, and the second case in which you have to again do all the analysis by considering the reservoir as empty case. So reservoir full case, reservoir empty case, tables like this have to be made for 2 different cases, for reservoir full case and reservoir empty cases, in which you have to consider the forces accordingly, and you have to calculate all the stresses developed according to the conditions. Then you have to arrive at the conclusion that in which case the stresses are critical and what is the intensity of pressure and stresses that will get developed in each of those analysis part, right? So that was a detailed problem that you should at least go through that. If you are interested in that, you can solve it on your own by referring Garg's book. But while referring to Garg's book for the detailed problem that I have said you right now, there are minor corrections in the Garg's book for problem number. Just wait, I will tell you the problem number. It is actually 19 point something. So problem number 19.2 is a detailed analysis problem for a gravity dam that is provided in the Garg's book. That you can go through that, just have a look. If you can try it for solving the entire problem, it is well and good. But that much lengthier problem won't get asked in your exam. You should at least know how to calculate the nominal forces, stresses, where does those forces are acting, and how the moments that will get developed, right? So this was the part related to analysis of a gravity dam for a conditions mentioned in the problem, right? So if you have any query or doubt related to today's discussion, you can let me know, or otherwise we can conclude the